Are you serious? Are you serious right now? I just got in an accident because of somebody who couldn't get... What made you swerve? All right, I think the best thing, if you can you get out of that? Yeah. All right, it's best if we get off the highway. There's nothing the cops will do except tell us to get off the highway. Yeah. Let's get off the highway. I'm gonna go up to this thing and we'll exchange information there. All right. The biggest thing is that you're okay and everything. So there was an exit I was headed to down there, and yeah. Well, do you want to do it here? Is it? That's fine if you want to do it. There's I'm on right now. Yeah. Yeah, let me grab my phone and stuff. Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. I am Nick. It is so good to see you guys, and welcome back to part 2 of the McLaren delivery. Obviously, if you watched part 1, the car did get in an accident, and obviously it's not staged. Come on. It was a very unfortunate event and really bummed me out, but I know that you guys all have one question.
Hey, what happened?
So what exactly happened? What I'm going to show you guys is actually a video that I prepared and sent to my insurance carrier for what happened. And you can see that as follows.
This is a video demonstration of what happened on Friday. This car represents myself, Nick Glova, in the McLaren. This car represents in her Hyundai. Keep in mind the road conditions were less than favorable with snow and ice. I am in the right lane, traveling forward around 50 to 55 miles an hour with my hazard lights on, which this is approximately where I start to notice passing me. Here I start to see her car wobble and start to lose full control. I let off the throttle. As I notice that she loses full control, I'm hard on the brakes. She goes over this way, and I'm trying to make an evasive maneuver to the left as we're moving the entire time like this. And her car is going off of the road, but then comes back and collides with my car right here. She spins out like this and ends on the side of the road over here. My car from the collision spins out like this, and once I know everything's fine and I'm fine, I move the car off to the side of the road not to impede traffic. And keep in mind, this all happened within a second or two.
As you guys can see there in that video, she spun out, she lost control. I tried to make an evasive maneuver, which was of very little use. I mean, I guess it saved the majority of the front end of the car, but regardless, the whole bumper had to get replaced anyways. Additionally, which I forgot to add in that video, is that if you've ever driven in snow-covered roads or roads that are starting to get snow-covered, there's like a clear track in the middle. There's a little bit of slush buildup and then a clear track that was happening on both sides of the freeway at that time. As you heard, that I was driving, 50 to 55 miles an hour with my hazards on, and I did have an independent witness that had stopped and helped me out with this whole thing. Obviously, I got out of the car. I was a little irritated at first. I think that as if most people would be, but that would not really help the situation. I was really irritated, and she was apologetic. At this point, I had suggested that we should get off of the highway because her and her friend were not hurt and the car was still drivable. I didn't want any onlookers to be distracted and perhaps cause a secondary accident, which would just be bad all the way around, and we could get seriously hurt or killed. And you know, that just adds gloom and doom to the day. I was only about 2 miles from my destination when this happened. I was literally on the way to drop the car off to get shipped the next day. The plan is I was going to drop the car off at my friend Chandler's house. He was going to make sure that it got on the truck and trailer, and they were going to ship it here to Las Vegas. I was going to have the shipper come to me, but he needed an extra day to actually get to Michigan as the snow was slowing him down a little bit, and that was fine. We just needed to keep the car at a friend's house. Not a big deal. Unfortunately, the accident happened. After that, we move off the highway to a gas station. I have the car parked against the grass, so it's very hard to see the damage unless you walk purposely to that side of the vehicle. Here you can see pictures of my car. You can see the front bumper is damaged. You can see the turn signals damaged, the headlight bucket, the headlight, the splitter's damaged, the right carbon fiber air intake. The fender is damaged, part of the quarter panel here is damaged, as well as the rear fender and part of the rear bumper. We didn't know until later that the front right radiator did take a hit and had a small leak in it. It wasn't major, but it was bent up quite a bit and it was dripping. Car didn't have any signs of drivability weakness. There was no check engine lights. There was no lights saying damage, go to Mclaren dealer, or anything like that in the vehicle when we were driving. It wasn't a very hard impact. It was just, I would say it's very light. Obviously we walked away, no injuries, and thank God for that. So here you can see the damage to her vehicle. I'm really thankful that she was very cordial throughout the whole thing. It wouldn't really help if we were both irritated with each other. And you can see the rear right of her vehicle is where it took damage. And thank God she had insurance, but that is another video, I believe. That's a whole different thing. We're waiting for the cops to come write a police report for the accident. You know, we're pretty low priority as we are in the safe zone and there is weather in the area. This is an odd event. Obviously, a car like this in kind of the middle of nowhere, Michigan, doesn't really happen that often. Within 5 minutes of me being there, I get a text from the previous owner saying, hey, you're on the internet. The previous owner at the time didn't know about the accident. I text him and he goes, oh my God, word travels fast. There was no damage photos on that page, so I just think they saw the car. Needless to say, and we're at the gas station and people are coming out and checking the car out. It was weird. Obviously, you know, I'm thankful for everybody that watches this channel, but I don't feel like this channel's massive. I had a couple of people come up and want to take photos because they wanted to say they met me. So there was one instance with a gentleman, he had just got done pumping his fuel and he'd asked me, hey man, what is that? And I had said to him, oh, it's a UFO. And he laughed and he came over and we talked about the car and he showed him the damage and the unfortunate event. As I'm waiting for the police to show up, I didn't want to idle the car that long. It was really, really cold. I go into the gas station to just keep warm. So the cop shows up, at which point I walk outside getting ready and prepared to talk to the cop. The guy comes out that I had just spoken with. He said, hey man, I know you're having a bad day. I'm kind of bummed out. I don't like that story. And he said, I got you something to make you feel a little bit better. Gets a bag and he brings it out and he says, remember what you said when I first asked what that is? And I said, yeah, it's a UFO. So he gives me this. And you know, it's my favorite new car show hat right here. He said, funny enough, when you flip it over, it's the same color as the car. Man, I think that was really cool. I think that was a very odd interaction with somebody in such a bum moment. But, you know, I always try to have a good mental attitude and try to look at this as it's a good problem to have. Like, I'm not looking for food. I'm not wondering where my water is going to come from. You know, it sucks when you get past all of that. That's just life. The cop talks to the girl. I'm not exactly sure what she had said to him. And, you know, she was very apologetic. She did admit fault, at least to me, a few times in person. And she did say it in front of my witness. I don't know if she had said that to the cop I don't know. I wasn't there when they spoke. I went out to the car. The cop was starting to look at the damage in my car. I went up, shook his hand, introduced myself. He looked at me and said, so basically you swerved, lost control, you guys made contact? And I said, yeah. He's like, you shouldn't really be driving a car like this in the snow. I don't really, basically thought to myself, what does it matter if it's this car or a dump truck? It's my car, it's, you know, it's insured. I didn't lose control. She lost control, you know, whatever. I didn't say any of this to the cop. I think cops have a very tough job, and I don't want to make anything harder for neither myself, her, or him. So he asked for my license, registration, and insurance, and obviously I don't have registration for the car at this point, but I show him my bill of sale and my title and my proof of insurance, which I had on the car. I go and grab my GoPro to record this incident with the gentleman with the hat. And you can see it here. I chalk a lot of the lost footage up to being so cold that a lot of my footage got corrupted. I don't know why there's no audio. It's just so skippy. It's just not usable. As you can see here, this is what had happened to a lot of the footage I have from my GoPro. So unfortunately, I tried to record in the moment, which you saw a little bit of, but it was absolutely bitter cold. I get into the witness's truck. We wait. The cop comes out, talks to the girl there, and he says, "You're free to go." And he goes to me, I notice an Air Force pin on his shoulder, and I was like, hey, yeah, I did 10 years in the Air Force too. And then he goes, oh, okay, great. Here's your citation. At which point I was like really thrown back because, I feel like I'm pretty good at admitting fault in a lot of situations, but I 100% am adamant that this accident was not my fault. He's like, well, you can fight it in court. And I just stayed true that it's not my fault. And I explained to him, she was the one that lost control. She swerved completely into my lane. And he was like, well, you need to have like safe stopping distance. And I was like, she wasn't even my lane. She was passing me in her lane, lost control, swerved into my lane. And he goes, well, you can fight it in court. And I was just thinking, like, in my head, like, why is he being like this? This is my first accident. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to react. I should have asked for his supervisor and just been done talking with this officer. I ended up just kind of putting my tail between my legs and taking the citation and just going away. I was really, really at a low point at this time. So I get back in the car, and I'm only about a mile away from my friend's house. Take it down to his house, put it in the garage, and from there I went to my grandmother's house the next day. Following Monday, I'm already back in Vegas, and my friend's wife texted me pictures of the car getting picked up by the tow truck and it had been dropped off at a local collision shop. I had chose to do this because the previous owner had really great things to say about this shop, and that he had worked with them a bunch of times and they wouldn't, steer me in the wrong direction, and that they would help me out, and, this, that, and the third. And I was thinking in my head, I've been ripped off so many times in Las Vegas. Well, I'm gonna have it done here. So the car got towed over to a local shop in Michigan. We start talking about the repair process and what I'd like to have done and what their actions are and what I think I want to do with the vehicle as well while it's there. So mind you, the accident happened just before Christmas time, which, there's a lot of shipping delays happening because everybody's sending gifts everywhere. And, a lot of people take a lot of time off during the holidays, and that's fine. My friend Steve that actually helped me buy this car, he's the one that showed me the ad and everything and, convinced me, and basically was there every step of the way in the purchase of this car. He had reached out, and he and I started working on sourcing parts. We found a bunch of parts. We started sending them to the shop, and just to get this thing on back on the road as soon as possible. I already know that the insurance is gonna have to pay me out on the car, so I might as well just start buying the parts. That way we're not waiting around for an extra couple of weeks, and you know, I'll just take some of that insurance money, put it back into my pocket because of the parts that I purchased. Also, all through this time, I had actually contacted a lawyer. I'm in a group called Full Send Rally Planning, and my friend Andrew that I met on Gold Rush last year. So basically in this group, we're in a big group chat, and it's people from all around the country that are exotic car owners and love to go on rallies. So basically, I went in there, showed pictures of the car. Everybody was like, oh man, that sucks. And I said, I need a traffic attorney in Michigan. Does anybody have one? And everybody said, Mark. So needless to say, I called Mark. I spoke with him, and you know, we were talking about everything. Don't worry about it. We're gonna make this thing go away. And you know, he was going to work with me in getting the citation to just disappear. I had basically turned over all the evidence that I had, including my independent witnesses information, to him so he could go to bat for me. So if you guys want to find out about the insurance process that I had to go through and the absurd Michigan law that had actually allowed her insurance not to pay out on this accident, or if you want to find out about what my attorney had to do in court and what the outcome of that court trial was, definitely stay tuned for part 3. We're going to explain all of that in the next video. If you like this video, hit that like button below, smash it if that's something you want to do, subscribe if you already have it. We're going to see you in the next video. Stay free, my friends.